We again greet you from Tropicana Field tonight. Game 2 of this 4-game series between the Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson. I'm Dwayne Stats. Good to have you aboard. Todd Callis will be along in just a moment. Last night, a disappointing loss, to say the least, for the Rays. They'll try to pick themselves right up off the floor and come out swinging. That's something they've done pretty well in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Since the 15th of April, they've hit 33 home runs, and they've been led by Evan Longoria.
Why not? And who else? I mean, Evan Longoria, over the last 20 games, he's hit .305. He's had 7 home runs. He's driven in 16 runs. And when you watch him at the plate right now, the power, outstanding. The swing, great. The production, phenomenal. However, the one thing that has been most impressive to me, and this may be off the beaten path, but it's been the way that he's taking pitches, his body language on his takes, the way that he is tracking the ball to the plate lets you know that he's seeing the ball well, and if that's the case, there's no reason to think that the production will not continue.
After allowing that 7-run lead to get away from them last night, the Rays were left in the wilderness for the period of overnight. They're coming back here, led by Evan Longoria. Todd Callis will be along in just a moment. The Rays have lost 17 games this year. In 12 of those games, they have held the lead at one point or another. Todd examines that.
Game series about to begin between the Blue Jays and the Rays from Tropicana Field. Rays home for 10 games in 11 days. An off day coming up next Monday, and a much needed one for the Rays, who seem to have not had many off days in the past month or so. For the Rays, though, lone leads has never been an issue. You remember last year whenever the Rays got a lead, and they did have J.P. Howe and Wade Davis here last year, in addition to the Jake McGee's and Kyle Farnsworth and the Joel Peraltas and Fernando Rodneys. But blown leads never were a big issue. Even going all the way back to 2008, in our Toyota trend, the first year the Rays made the playoffs and eventually ended up in the World Series, you'll see they hardly blew any leads. 29th out of 30 teams in terms of blown leads, and that stayed that way in the 20s for the next 3 years. Last year tied for 18th, but you always felt good with a lead late for the Rays. This year, they have more blown leads than any team in the major leagues, and Joe Madden knows that's not the norm for this Tampa Bay Rays team.
It's been different, I don't know if concerning is the right word. Here's my thought. I mean, I really believe in our guys a lot. I think we have really very talented, good starting pitchers, or pitchers in general. They're going through a tough stretch right now. They're gonna even out. They're gonna come back as long as they're healthy, and I don't abuse them. So they've not been abused, and they're healthy right now. So I think it's going to come back to us. Just got to be patient. Sometimes you go through different stretches. Right now, the pitching in general has had a little bit of a malaise going on, and I can't really understand why, but it's about supporting them right now. They're good. They're real good. They're healthy. Just got to keep pushing it, keep putting them out there in the right moments, which is the right moment for them, and eventually it's going to come back to us.
Well, the Rays are hoping it comes back to them as early as tonight. Big bounce-back opportunity for this team after a difficult loss last night with a 7-0 lead, turning into an 8-7 loss. We will have Jay Happ on the mound for Toronto and Roberto Hernandez on the mound for the Rays when we come back. First pitch, less than 3.5 minutes away. Enjoy, everyone.
A tough one to swallow for the Rays. After jumping out to a 7-0 advantage, Tampa Bay's lead slowly melted away. And tonight, J.P. Arancibia's home run off Fernando Rodney capped an improbable comeback for the Blue Jays. Tonight, the Rays look to turn the page and get back on the winning track. Baseball tonight from Tropicana Field. The Rays' lead lasted 2 outs and 2 strikes into the 9th inning last night before J.P. Arancibia, for all practical purposes, decided the game with that long blast. And so tonight, the Rays cannot wait to get this one started. The sooner this game is underway, the better it is for the Rays to put last night in the rearview mirror. Take a look at the starting lineup for Toronto. Brent Lawrie's going to lead it off, followed by Melky Cabrera and then Jose Bautista. Edwin Encarnacion hits cleanup in front of the catcher, J.P. Arancibia. The DH is Adam Lind. Colby Rasmus in center. Myceri Sturris is at second base hitting 8th. And Munenori Kawasaki at shortstop will bat 9th.
Taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, right-hander Roberto Hernandez. His numbers brought to you by Coventry Healthcare of Florida. Be his 6th start of the season. His last official start was in Chicago against the White Sox, but he was victimized by the rain/snow in Kansas City. That one was wiped off the books, so anxious to get back out there and hopefully eat up a lot of quality innings tonight for that man right there, Joe Madden.
Well, here's Brett Lawrie to lead it off, and the first pitch of this game is a strike call. First pitch presented by Pinch A Penny. Hernandez, after his 2nd win of the year. It's a ball and a strike. Well, the Rays took a long look at Hernandez this spring, and what they liked about him was his ability to be a workhorse, and they're going to ask him to do that tonight. Popped up, right side, Loney after it, and cannot get there. Went into that slide in an attempt to get under that one and give himself a little more time to try to make the play. A ball, 2 strikes.
And Roberto Hernandez is the type of pitcher that is going to cherish that challenge. Loney giving everything he can to get there. That ball tantalizingly hanging up there, but there's no way to get there.
Ground ball, deep third, long throw, Longoria in time. He just got it. Post play at first to start this one, and Lawrie is out of there.
Well, and then you understand why last night in that play that Longoria, similar, had to go back. Here he does set his feet and make the throw, and this becomes very, very close. Lawrie hustling all the way down. Boy, that was bang, bang. Well done on both ends. They did get him.
Scott Berry on the call down there at first. Now Melky Cabrera is in the batter's box. And the first pitch strike on the fastball. Cabrera had a couple hits in last night's game. He's hitting .258. Pitch stays inside.
Yeah, and that'll be a pitch to look for tonight from Roberto, is that front door sinker to the left-handed hitters. That's something we saw early in the season. He was very effective with it. Most guys, those left-handed hitters, looking for that sinker down and away, but he'll throw that right at your front hip, let it break to the inside corner.
Down to first. Loney's there. He'll make the play unassisted. 2 up, 2 down.
Let's take a quick look at the Rays defense as it lines up behind Roberto. In the outfield, left to right, Sean Rodriguez out in left field, Desmond Jennings and Ben Zobrist across the infield, third to first. Evan Longoria, Yunel Escobar, Ryan Roberts, and James Loney. Jose Molina will be behind the plate.
Well, so far, so good. Hernandez with 2 ground balls, and that's what the Rays hope to get from him. Here's Jose Bautista. Bautista with 7 home runs. He was on 3 times last night. He walked and a couple of base hits in addition. And a strike call off speed change right there from Hernandez.
And that's what you're going to have to do to Jose Bautista. He's had a little bit of success, just 6 at-bats, 3 out of 6 against Roberto Hernandez, but he'll be looking for that sinker all night long. So you're going to have to mix up the patterns and change the speeds.
Big cut and a miss right there.
And he got a little bit long in that swing. They wanted this ball away. It ended up middle in. But Bautista gets a little long, pulls out of there. He's trying to jack that ball. Head comes out, everything. That's the way he swings. All or nothing.
Swing like you mean it.
Yes.
And he does. Hits it deep into left center field. That ball's going to carry and get off the top of the wall. It's going to be a double for Bautista. Well, the fence juts up there right in front of the seats, adjacent to the wall, as it extends out from center field into left center. John Gibbons wants to talk it over with the umpiring crew. We'll take another look.
That ball ends up sinking down and in, and him pulling out of there, those high hands, he just drops him right to the baseball and shoots it out there. This is not a home run. Hits on top of that padding.
So it's going to be a double for Bautista, even if they decide to review it. So Bautista is at second base with his 5th double. You can see the ball is headed more toward left center, where the fence does increase its height.
I think that's
right there in front of the stands. Well, they'll take a look at it.
Why don't they just yell up here and ask us? It didn't go over. It hit the pad on the top. It's double.
Yeah, we'll be the two curmudgeons in the balcony.
No, I mean, yeah, I'll circle the dent out on the padding. If they want me to do that.
Yeah, circle it. Maybe they'll see that when they
right
review
there.
It.
There it is. Hold on. Yep, it's still there, right off the right foot of the guy in the white hat. The lady, I'm not sure.
It's so far.
It's a bad end. Hey, listen, I knew it wasn't a home run. I didn't know gender. I'm sorry.
Well, you were concentrating on the right thing. You're so focused. So it's going to be a double at the end of the day. And you see Tim Welke coming out giving the sign. So it's a 2-base hit. We should see that one more time. Give you a second chance, BA.
Please, please.
Here, what do you think?
Well, not a home run.
Yeah. Way to go. Right answer again. All right, Bautista's at second, and Encarnacion is the hitter. The pitch is inside. Well, we finally got a good close shot of that. Just an attractive young lady.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Hair pulled back with the hat on.
Yeah.
It's a ball game. I meant no offense.
You never do.
I don't.
Doesn't.
Listen, I was calling it like I see it, and from 506 feet away, I couldn't tell.
Yeah. Yeah, you just knew the ball was not a home run.
That's right.
And that was your focus. You're a professional, and that's where your focus should be. So keep it up. Pitch misses, ball 2. It's 2-1. All right. I think like a little levity to get things underway here. The miss. The count is even. A couple of ground balls and then that double by Bautista.
Here's the changeup. You know, that pitch is such an effective pitch, but what makes it so effective for the Rays, and we've seen a lot of the guys on the staff do it, is they will use that pitch in. You know, a lot of times changeup middle of the plate down if you've got good sink on it and away, but they'll use it in too.
Runs this one off the plate end. Full count.
No hitter likes to get beat with a fastball in. That's like the machismo pitch. You know, you can get me away with your slider and get me out in front on your changeup, but nobody likes to get beat in with the heater. So the willingness to throw that changeup, these guys start yanking out of there quick, thinking they've got to be really quick with the hands and pull them through, and they're often fooled by it.
3-2 and a big cut there as he fouls it. See another full count pitch. The Blue Jays come in with a record now 12-21. The Rays are 14-17. 3-2. Runner takes off second. A swing and a miss. He got him on the changeup to retire the side. Bottom half of inning one coming. Rays coming in to hit. With Desmond Jennings set to lead off. Rays facing another left-hander tonight. We'll take a look at the rest of Joe Maddon's lineup. Jennings followed by Ryan Roberts and Ben Zobrist. Evan Longoria, Luke Scott the DH, and Sean Rodriguez hit sixth and left. James Loney's sort of hitting down there in the seventh spot against the lefty. Jose Molina, then Fidel Escobar hits ninth.
I'm taking the mound tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays. Left-hander Jay Happ making his seventh start of the season. And this right here, 18 walks, 31 and two-thirds innings. The Rays should get their chances. In fact, in his last start was against the Boston Red Sox, he walked 7 and 3 2/3.
Jennings goes after the first one and lifts a fly ball to center. It's Rasmus. One away.
Let's take a quick look at the Toronto defense as it lines up. In the outfield, left to right, Melky Cabrera, Colby Rasmus, and Jose Bautista. Across the infield, third to first, Brett Lawrie, Munenori Kawasaki, Myceris Turris, and Edwin Encarnacion. JP Arancibia will get the start behind the plate.
There's Ryan Roberts. Roberts getting the start against the lefty. Ryan hitting .364 against left-handed pitching. Both his home runs off lefties. Happ throws him a strike. Happ came to the Blue Jays from Houston. He split last year between the Astros and the Blue Jays. Roberts lifts it down the right field side. Bautista racing over, but will not catch up to it in front of the bullpen mound.
Well, Jay Happ really keeps things pretty simple. I mean, against right-handed hitters, he's very heavy. Fastball, changeup. He will throw the curve and slider, but much smaller percentage of the time. Left-handers, he's more fastball, slider. The curveball and the changeup taking the back seat.
Yeah, and he throws the fastball a lot, whether it's a four-seam or two-seam, and he is not overpowering with it.
No, we've seen him 89, 90 in that range. There's your 90. But yeah, to right-handed hitters, he's throwing the fastball 70% of the time. 70% of the time without being overpowering. And, you know, Joe Maddon has made the comment concerning the pitching staff about using that fastball. I mean, here's a guy, you know, showing you, not afraid to, you know, to go out there and say, here's my fastball, because, and Joe put it best, the best pitch in baseball is a well-located fastball, and a close runner up there is obviously the changeup, but all that stuff plays off the fastball.
2 to Roberts. Toward right center field. Rasmus will not catch this one. It one-hops the wall. Roberts on his way to second. He's going to turn second and decide to hang on there and back to the bag. That throw came through on a hop. And he just got back to the bag. He sort of jammed that left foot right back on second base.
Here's one of those fastballs that Roberts really shoots with authority into the right center field gap. And then right here, maybe making a bid. And this tag makes it very close. It didn't even look like he picked anything up over there from Tom Foley. It's just his his innards told him, you know what, this is just get back to second and be happy we're there. Well played.
It's his 5th double of the year, and it gives Ben Zobrist a chance to put the Rays on top early. And back with the club, takes the pitch for a strike. And missed 2 games because of the death of his grandmother. And so now back hitting third. Ben here down 2 strikes. Roberts hitting over 360 against lefties, then Zobrist over 320, followed by Longoria over 350. So there's 3 bats bunched together.
Well, and that's what we've been seeing from Joe Madden when he fills out that lineup card. If a guy's had a measure of success, they typically obviously going to be floating around somewhere in the middle, and he will put them back to back to back, try to get something going, be able to put some innings together.
Now the Rays come in averaging almost 4.5 runs a game and hitting 280 against left-handed pitching this year. So they've been able to jump out in front, but as we discussed last night and saw last night, they've had a difficult time holding on to leads.
You know, getting back to what we were talking about with the fastball, all of those secondary pitches that you can put guys away with and you can get them out in front and screw up timing, those are all effective because of the fastball. If it becomes one big muddled mess where you're throwing everything 33% of the time, you're not nearly going to be as effective as if you don't establish the fastball to both sides, make them respect that pitch, and then play off it.
Popped into the outfield. Asturias out from second. Coming in from right is Bautista. That's out number 2. And you know, Madden has a way about him, and you know, he talked extensively about how the fastball is the best pitch.
Yeah.
He didn't draw any specifics, but with a broad stroke, I think he's sending a message.
I don't think there's any question about it. Go out there and establish your fastballs. These guys on the Rays staff, listen, they've got track records. They're good pitchers.
Yep.
They can locate. They can pitch to both sides of the plate. So go do it. Establish that fastball to both sides of the plate. You got to move some feet every now and then. Do that too, and then let your secondary stuff make these guys look foolish. And there's no question in my mind that that was a message meant for the entire staff.
Yeah, what a great way to do it as well.
Right. Absolutely right.
1-0 the count to Evan Longoria. Rays need a 2-out hit to get this run home in the first.
I think sometimes we see these guys pitching where you get the feeling that they don't realize how good they are from time to time. Not even the majority of the time, but from time to time, you're like, you are so much better than this.
Well, you go through a stretch where things aren't working out, and maybe you start to second guess yourself a little bit.
Well, and yeah, and then you start to try to get tricky.
But you know what? They have this history of success coming into this year. They've done the job. They've had good command.
Yep.
And so I think Madden is saying, sort of staff-wide, just get to it.
Get back to your roots. Get back to your roots. You've all done it before. And you know what? At the end of the day, you know they're going to do it again.
Edmund takes a strike, snap throw back from Aaron Sebia down to second. Back in is Roberts. And that's the other thing that Matt was talking about before the game tonight. So this team is better than this. You're going to try to make all the right moves, try to do things that you would normally do, and you expect them to straighten this thing out because they're better than what they've shown.
Yeah, the question now becomes the mental toughness, and that's why Joe said you'll see a lot about our team with how they rebound from last night. And that's where it's going to come into play. There's no question these guys can play. They're talented on paper. You know, Joe said in spring training, best team I've had since I've been here. And Joe understands and can evaluate talent. You just cannot let the mental demons start to take over negativity. Poison tree.
How do you spell that?
Check the notes.
The pitch is a strike, and now the count is full to Longoria. Well, seeing some of the guys on the way in tonight, they seem to be pretty even. They weren't down. They didn't walk around like we're overly determined. They seemed pretty even-handed about approaching this game and realizing that as soon as they got tonight's game underway, the better they would feel. And Longoria takes one close. Happ started to walk off the mound. He thought he had the strikeout. Longoria draws the walk.
I thought they were going to ring him too. This is very close. He drops this right on the outside corner, maybe a little bit off. And you know, that's the one thing though, I'm telling you, Evan Longoria is swinging a nice bat. The power has come around. He's hitting the ball to all fields. But the way that he's taking pitches has been really impressive to me, because just the way that he's tracking the ball.
He swings the bat as if he's seeing the ball.
That's what he's doing. He is seeing the ball great, and that's why those borderline pitches, he just looks and says, I know that's not in the zone, and he lets it go.
Luke Scott takes a strike. Come on, Scott off the DL and swinging a good bat.
He is, and he a couple of power shots to right field since he's come back. But then I like the base hit to left field too. He had one of those in last night's game, and that's always a good sign when those lefties will shoot the ball the other way, especially when they're known for power.
1-1. So the Rays with first inning opportunity.
They've been better at this than any team in baseball, scoring runs in the first. They've been following Joe Madden's formula.
And they're hitting .285 with runners in scoring position. Aaron Sebia blocks it. 2-1. Take a look at what they've done in the first inning, leading the major leagues in first inning runs.
Well, that's something that Joe preached on all spring training, so you can imagine how frustrated he is. Want quick starts to the season, quick starts in games. Well, they've been getting that, these first inning runs, but yet when they've scored first, they're just a 500 ball club.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Ooh, a good cut. Fastball up. It's fouled. 2-2. Rays trying to punch out a run or two here in the first against Happ. Fouls another one. Good cut.
Yeah, two pitches that Luke Scott, a healthy rip. He's taking that long walk. Oh boy.
Well, he's had two back to back. Happ's last outing, the 7 walks you referenced earlier. 95 pitches in 3 2/3 innings. And out of that, 2 runs.
Obviously some missed opportunities there for Boston.
2-2 to ground ball. Masturis from second makes the throw to first. So we've gone through an inning tonight. The Rays nothing, the Blue Jays nothing. Bay Rays baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by the Tampa Bay Times. Amazing stories only in the 2013 Pulitzer Prize-winning Tampa Bay Times. And by Toyota. Let's go places. J.P. Arencibia leads off the second inning. And the first pitch from Hernandez, he takes inside. Arencibia belted the home run last night that eventually sealed the fate of the Rays. 1-1 the count. 2 outs and a 2-2 count. He turned the fastball around.
Well, that was after seeing a number of them. Similar spot in the zone up, and I think he just was able to time him up. He got a pitch on the inner half, open the hips, and let it fly.
1-2. Arencibia out on strikes. Changeup got him.
I'll tell you what, anytime you have an aggressive swinging lineup, the changeup is going to play a huge role, especially when you're known as a sinker baller who's going to throw a ton of those. If you can work that changeup around the zone and pick some key spots to throw it, you're going to get swings just like that.
Adam Lind is the designated hitter for the Blue Jays. He steps in here. And throws a strike. Lind 3 of 8 lifetime against the Rays right-hander. And Hernandez is ahead of him. 0-2 right now. The top half of the second. Baltimore scored 3 in the bottom of the first on Kansas City to take a 3-0 lead. Two. Boston started the day leading Baltimore and New York by 2. The Rays by 6.5. And the Blue Jays by 9.5. Both managers last night showing a sense of urgency the way they manage those games, and you made the point that, you know, the Blue Jays came in here, and if they lose that first game and there's a possibility of being swept, I mean, that not only would they have been way out of first, but they would have been deeply in the basement behind the 4th place Rays.
You would have been 8 games. 8 games. They were 4 games behind the Rays last night.
A well-hit ball to right. That's going to get out of here. Fastball up a little bit, and Lind hits his first home run of the year. A line drive home run out to right center.
Adam Lind, you're trying to throw that front door sinker. That ball leaked back inner half. See where that ball ends up. Yeah, just right on the inner half, and Adam Lind able to clear the hands and hammer that ball out into right center field.
So the Blue Jays score first. There's Colby Rasmus. That's a strike. Well, as a result of that, I think John Gibbons had a tremendous sense of urgency the way he managed that game, knowing that his club had really struggled amid just great expectations of this team after all the moves they made in the offseason.
No, they fell down so big early, 7-0. They answered in the 4th to pull within 7-3, but then were shut back down in the 5th. And that's why in the 6th inning, when they finally got an opportunity, he started to empty the bench with pinch hitting. Said, listen, I got to make my move now. I can't wait to pinch hit in the 8th or the 9th. Need to make the move now and give myself 4 innings to chip away at this lead. And I'll be doggone if it didn't work.
And that guy right there, Martin Early, you've got to give him a lot of credit.
You know what? The line, 6 innings, 7 earned runs, but he pitched like a champion, because you give up 7 runs in 1 inning, especially in the 3rd, it's shutdown time for a lot of guys.
Rasmus lifts it into center. Jennings takes care of it.
Reminds me of that outing that we talk about often with Alex Cobb in Kansas City when he was down 6-0 after 3 and went complete game.
And
Same kind of outing.
What he did is save the staff at that time. A similar situation where the Rays were really looking for some innings, and although he gave up a lot of runs early, he stayed and went the distance. Sturis, a foul ball. That's strike 1.
Yeah, that's where you read into a pitcher's heart, into his character, and you say, this guy, it's not all about him. Because the guy that it's all about him, they're going to have a bad outing like that, they'll throw the towel.
They're trying to bail.
They're trying to bail. This guy says, you know what, I don't care what my line looks like. I'm going to keep going out there, and I'm going to keep clawing after you until they drag me off this field.
Yeah, that's a throwback to those guys who could beat you 1-0 or 10-9.
Yeah.
Some way they're going to win.
Yeah, that's right. And even if they don't, they're going to go down swinging. And I think that's what this Rays team really that they need to do. You get another situation where you get a big lead. It's been talked about. You've been asked about it. Cameras in your face. You read about it. You know what? Just go out there and let it all hang out. If you're going to go down swinging.
Yeah. And you can answer those questions to a point. You just don't get too serious about answering those questions. That's what you do. You put it to rest, and then you go out and play the game the way you can. Madden keeps saying this team is filled with some talent. Back into the corner as Sturis has himself an extra base hit. He's one of those guys in pitcher-hitter matchups that somehow they occasionally pop up, and he has had a lot of success against Roberto Hernandez.
Well, this is his 8th hit in 22 at-bats. The ball stays middle, and he just reaches out there. He is out in front. Watch his hands. Gets a little bit fooled, and he's able to drag him and keep the bat in the zone for a long time, and that gives him a chance.
So he's in scoring position for Kawasaki. A strike. Here's a guy, if you're pitching against, you want to make sure that your focus is on the mitt. You don't want any part of him because he's a distraction.
Dwayne, I'm sitting over here thinking the same thing. Like, you better lock it in on the glove and the location, because there's too much going on up there with him. How about on first base?
Oh, absolutely.
You just got to block him. He doesn't exist.
He's a distraction on deck. He does things on deck. You go, what's going on?
Yeah. Sits on his shins. No. He's up there shorting it up, looking for the cheese.
And he fouls it away. Back foot on the very back line of the batter's box. A ball and 2 strikes. It's a ball, 2 strikes the count to Kawasaki. And strike 3 call. That one came back and caught the corner. So he's out of there. A run on a couple hits. 1-0 Toronto.
Big night last night. Unfortunately, the Rays lost that game 8-7 before the game. Longoria talked about this team compared to last year's and other year's teams here with the Rays.
The Rays culture that Joe and our management have created, and I don't see any difference in this group. You know, it's not so much the mentality as it's been really the on-field play. You know, we've been a loose group. We're having fun in here. It's just we're not getting the results on the field, and you know, there comes a point where you have to have those. And like I said, it starts with tonight, and it starts with going out there and just putting yesterday behind us.
You know, see how interesting it is if the Rays can come back. Longoria also said he hopes that's not the one game you look back on at the end of the year if you miss the playoffs by a game, guys.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. As Sean Rodriguez leads off here, he runs the count to 2-1 against the left-hander Jay Happ. Well, as difficult as last night's game was, BA, there are going to be games like that. Spread over 162. Liner into left. That's going to get down for a base hit, and now more to the wall by Cabrera. And a stand-up double for Sean Rodriguez.
Now, Sean Rodriguez taking advantage of an interesting route there by Cabrera. How he was not able to cut that ball off, I'm not really sure. There should have been nothing more than a single. Nice job by Sean to drop the head and get it out there for a base hit. No, just was able to scoot right by him.
Rodriguez on target for 2.
Even did it right, closed the one eye. Through the sights.
James Loney. Pitch is down. Loney at .391 had a hit last night. He's 8 out of 14 against lefties. Down at the 7th spot. Secret weapon down there. The bottom part of the order. Foul toward the stands. And he's 3 out of 6 against Happ. There's 3 plate appearances short of qualifying to be listed among the league leaders. In fact, right now he'd be atop that list. So he'll get those the way he's swinging the bat, playing every day. It's a ball and 2 strikes. That was interesting. Joe Madden was talking about him. He said this guy can drive in 100 runs because he makes contact so much.
Yeah, and he takes what the pitchers give him. Doesn't try to do too much, and the fact that he's been able to stay that hot for that long and that consistent with his approach is what is so impressive. I mean, he's hitting what again, is it over 500 in the last 3 weeks.
And a line drive base hit into center field. Rodriguez will be held at third. And Loney, ball loose. Loney made a turn, but decides to hang on.
Okay, you know, watch him cut down his swing right here with 2 strikes. Just watch him cut down on the swing and just try to put the ball in play. Let me get the barrel to the baseball. And that's all he does. Just easily that. Just a little sweep action. This isn't a big rip. Look at him. Follows it in. Just look at it. Just cuts down and lines it back up the middle. The ability to hit with 2 strikes, to situationally hit, runners in scoring position, consistent approach. This guy's been outstanding.
So first and third, there's a start of a birthday celebration. A base hit his first time up. Loney 29 today. Here's Jose Molina. And the pitch to Molina is a strike around the knees. Now, a guy who makes that kind of contact, he could wind up. Matt said, hey, he could hit 10 home runs and drive in 100 runs. He could because of the contact motion. And the bunt up the right side. It'll be an underhanded toss to the plate. And the call, he is out. And They're going to say that Rodriguez missed the plate. Marty Foster on the call. He made no call after Rodriguez went in head first and waited for Aaron Sebia to tag him. And so he's going to say he missed the plate somehow. And Madden's going to argue this point vociferously with the plate umpire Marty Foster. Rays trying to get the tying run across the plate. And Encarnacion made the underhanded toss to Aaron Sebia. Oh my. Now he's been ejected. Well, as we mentioned last night, the Rays did have some issues with this crew over in Texas, and they've got an issue tonight. Madden has just been ejected. Well, let's take a look as Rodriguez tries to come in, get the hand on the plate.
Certainly looked like he got the back end pretty definitively.
Wow. It appeared he got the back end of the plate.
Yep.
And Foster called him out
with a few inches to spare.
Man.
With a few inches to spare.
Well, that after the call in Texas. Oh my. There's another look. He's got the plate.
Got it right at the back end, right at the back edge. A nice slide by Sean Rodriguez to avoid that tag. He did everything right.
He was safe all night long. He was safe. Wow. What a terrible call. And here's Escobar fouling it up the right side. Out of play. Strike one. It is what it is.
Yeah, a bad call. That's exactly right. I mean, that. You know, listen, there was a lot going on there, but you're watching for the tag and the player's hand, and the hand clearly was all over the plate.
Well, it's got to turn sometime. Escobar fouling it back. The count is 0-2. Yeah, that on the heels of the call in Texas, and then you let a game get away last night. That's your own fault.
Yeah.
And then that one. First and third with one out. One ball, two strikes. So Madden ejected. The Rays still trying to make something of this inning. Davey Martinez taking over, the Rays bench coach. Into the dirt, to the backstop, and here comes the tying run. Loney steps on that plate. And this game is tied 1-1. Down to second follows Molina. So we're tied.
Well, Happ just choked off a curveball here. I mean, right out, gets right in front of the plate, takes that high chop bounce right over Aaron Sebia. James Loney, definitive.
There you go. He got the plate.
If only he would have just jumped and landed on with 2 feet. Hopscotch.
Yeah, he would have been gone.
He probably would have. That would have been fun to watch.
Oh, man. You know, here's the deal. Umpires are going to miss calls. They're human beings. We all make mistakes. But how many times do you see on a missed call, they miss it? And the manager's ejected almost every time on a call like that.
Oh, yeah.
See ya. You're done. Hit a ground ball. Headed up the middle. Base hit into center. They're going to wave, but now he's going to stop it. And into second base follows Escobar. Well, Foley thought about sending Molina. And then he goes, well, I'm going to rethink that. Put up the stop sign. The Rays will have men at second and third.
What he ended up doing is tricking Colby Rasmus into thinking he was going, and he airmailed all of his cutoff men. And that allowed a heads-up Yunel Escobar to get out to second base. Watch this. They line up for the cut. Forget it. Easy read for Escobar, and he gets right out to second base.
Yeah, he started to accelerate a little coming around the bag, and then you got to stop that train.
Yes. It did draw the throw, though, and that helps.
Now Desmond Jennings with 2 men in scoring position. Ball, no strikes. Desmond just 2 out of 18 with men in scoring position this year. So a hit here would really be big, not only for the Rays, but for Desmond. I tell you, he's done a nice job. He came into the game hitting just .237, but he scored a lot of runs. Some of that of his own power. 4 home runs for Jennings.
And hopefully he can continue to develop that part of his game, the on-base percentage, the seeing more pitches, working at bats, getting on base. Because when he gets on, I'll tell you what, he gets in the head of the pitchers. They know he can steal. They know he can run. He divides their attention. He allows the guys behind him to get better pitches to hit. And so all of that being said, that's going to lead to him scoring a ton of runs.
It's blocked by Aaron Seavey, and now Desmond's up 3-1. He came into the game 2 out of 3 in his other appearances against Happ. 0-for-1 tonight. Ryan Roberts on deck. And a shot. Oh, it hits Happ. Deflects all the way back at first, and Happ is down on the mound. 2 runs have scored. Jennings goes to third, and Happ hit on the head by that line drive, and he immediately went down. And that was a solid shot. Happ prone in front of the mound. Desmond Jennings at third. A line drive right back to the hill. And one of the worst things that you can see right here on a field. getting immediate attention, and here is that line. Jay Happ, the Toronto Blue Jays starting pitcher, hit squarely on the left side of the head by a line drive. Happ down and being attended to immediately. Happ being stabilized and attended to by the Rays training staff. Headed up by Ron Porterfield and George Willis, the Blue Jays head trainer. A stunning development here. Jay Happ exits. Our thoughts and prayers go with him and his family. We did see movement. We'll return in a moment. Jay Happ, the Blue Jays starting pitcher, struck on the side of the head by a line drive off the bat of Desmond Jennings. And Happ has been removed from the field and being attended to. And that's one of the more somber developments in this game, particularly for a pitcher after a delivery. He's so exposed.
That's it.
He has no reaction time.
No, I mean, you're coming 60 feet 6 inches delivering that ball to the plate, and Desmond, that wasn't a soft liner. That was a rocket shot back up the middle, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do. You see a white blur, if anything, and
that's significant right there. Ron Porterfield, good for him. He's such a pro, but he spent time with Desmond Jennings, because you can see on Desmond's face from the time he was at third base the concern he had about that. Nothing he could do about that, but still he has major concern there. And I think Ron Porterfield explaining to Desmond the nature of the location of the impact and maybe trying to ease Jennings' mind a little bit.
Well, these teams are going to go at it. They're going to play to win, play hard against each other, but at the end of the day, it's a brotherhood.
So Brad Lincoln will be the new pitcher, facing Ryan Roberts. And that first pitch is up. So a delay of a little over 10 minutes, 11 minutes, I think, there. And Lincoln is on to face the Rays here, and Roberts. And the Rays now have a 3-run lead, or a 2-run lead. It's 3-1.
Toronto brings their defense in here with Jennings on third, and the other tough part about right now is getting that adrenaline going again. I mean, just the air was let out of this place on both sides. Now all of a sudden it's a Major League Baseball game again, and you're expected to perform. That's not easy to turn it on and off that quick.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. Difficult to watch.
Oh.
The moment turned in an instant. 3-1 now to Roberts. Of course, Todd Callis will be checking, and we'll let you know on the condition of Jay Happ as soon as we find out. A strike. The count goes to 3-2. Blue Jays scored a run in the top half of this inning on the home run by Lynn. The Rays had 3 in the bottom. Ground ball that's going to go through the drawn and infield. Jennings comes home with the 4th run of the inning as Roberts drives in his 8th run this year. The Rays have 6 hits in this game, 5 in this inning. There's Ben Zobrist. To strike the count. Roberts back in at first. Roberts breaks and a turn. Now they'll have him caught in the rundown, and he's tagged out by Encarnacion. So an early break.
Well, I think Ryan Roberts thought that he had Brad Lincoln timed up on his delivery to the plate. So almost in his mind, he's counting 1001, 1002, and he's off. So Lincoln had not gone anywhere. Becomes a spring training drill.
Now a ball and a strike. A fastball misses Zobrist. Be down and in. 2-1. Had Lincoln in relief of the injured Jay Happ. A high chopper behind the mound. Throw to first, not going to be in time. Laurie came over from third to make a play on it and could not get it there in time. So Zobrist is aboard.
Well, this had trouble written all over it for the Blue Jays once that ball chopped up that high. You know Ben's going to be hustling, and I don't care who got it. I don't know if Brad Lincoln, even if he grabs it, you're probably not going to get Ben. Laurie had no shot.
So here's Evan Longoria. Walked his first time. This pitch is strike. Lincoln, 28-year-old right-hander. The Blue Jays got him from Pittsburgh. And he has a very good arm. Curveball there for a strike.
Well, attacks with 3 pitches. The fastball, that good curveball that we just saw to Evan. Got like a split changeup.
Ground ball, deep short. Throw to second is in time for the force, and Longoria grounds into the fielder's choice to end this one. The Rays lead 4-1. Sports is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. By After Earth in theaters May 31st. And by Checkers. Feast on. Game 2 of this 4-game series continues. Moving into the 3rd inning now with the Rays scoring 4 in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Roberto Hernandez on the hill. Be the top of the order for the Blue Jays. In the bottom of the 2nd inning, the Rays sent 8 men to the plate. How about this? All of them reached with a man called out at the plate trying to score and 2 fielders' choices. The Rays scored 4, left 2, and all 8 men reached in that inning. Pitch is low to Brett Laurie. The 3rd is underway. That's a strike. So the Rays have taken the lead. Their challenge this year has been holding those leads.
Roberto Hernandez with such a long layoff. Want him to come out here sharp, have a quick inning, get the offense back in there and ready to go.
We'll take the count to 2-2. The Rays had their manager ejected in the inning. Happ hit in the head by a line drive. Rays score 4. And now Hernandez out with a full count on Laurie. Headed to short. Escobar fields and throws, and a nice play to retire Laurie, leading off the 3rd.
Well, yes, it was. After a rough night last night for Yunel, he bounces back here and makes a nice play moving up the middle. He's got a spin and throw with very little time to pick up first base. Well, you just got to get it, go, turn, and let her fly right on the money.
Melky Cabrera shortens on the bat, takes the pitch for a strike. Twins and the Red Sox are in the bottom of the 4th. No score in their game at Fenway, but David Ortiz, dating back into last year, has extended his hitting streak to 27 with a base hit. He's been swinging a very hot bat for the Red Sox. Cabrera tries to hold up, loses his bat, and falls down, and did not hold up, says Marty Foster.
Add insult to injury.
Molina was either catching him or tagging him. You all right? An 0-2 count to the Toronto left fielder. High fly ball, shallow right, and Zobrist is there to catch it. 2 outs here in the 3rd. Let's check in with Todd Callis now to get an update on Jay Happ. Todd?
Yeah, don't know everything. Right, what we do know, Dr. Michael Riley, Ray's team physician, was out on the field, one of the first people out there after the trainers, and he was with Jay Happ all the way through. When he came back here through the home plate area here, had his eyes open, he did motion to the crowd, so he was conscious. He is heading to Bayfront Medical Center, one of the great hospitals you can go to in America. So fortunate to have that so close to Tropicana Field, and Dr. Riley was with him. He had about 2 or 3 Paramedics working with him in the back of the ambulance. Very calm, secure situation before he left. He left in an ambulance for Bayfront at 8:14, guys.
All right, thank you very much for the update, Todd. Bautista out. Roberts to Laurie on the shift. Bottom of the third coming. 4-1 Rays. Bottom of the third. Luke Scott's going to lead it off, and the Blue Jays put the severe shift on for Scott. Rodriguez and Loney will follow. Rays facing right-hander Brad Lincoln. And that's a strike in tonight's game and all season long. Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Foul to the base of the screen to count to 0-2. Moving that back foot out of the way.
That curveball by Brad Lincoln is a sharp pitch, and you can see how he can sweep it, cover a lot of ground. Ball wrapping all the way behind Luke.
And he's out on strikes. That one started wide and caught the zone, a breaking ball.
Yeah, you know that not exactly. That's a good description. Not a true curveball. You know, it's almost a slurvy, like a big slider. Whatever it is, it's an effective pitch. He dropped that one behind Luke Scott and then starts this one off the plate away and then catches the outside corner.
Rodriguez fouls it. Fastball right back. That's a strike. Brad Lincoln, the right-hander, out of the Houston area. He was a first-round pick by the Pirates. In fact, he was the 4th player picked in the 2006 draft by Pittsburgh. A 1-1 count to Sean Rodriguez, who is playing left field tonight for the Rays.
How about the snap on that breaking ball? That ball came out of his hand, looked like it was destined for Sean Rodriguez. That front knee, he's throwing right at that target, letting that thing sweep and break late.
Two and two. Little number back toward the mound. Lincoln with a toss to first. 2 up, 2 down against the right-hander.
First baseman, James Loney.
James Loney. He singled and scored in the 4-run second. Loney started the night at .391. The pitch is a strike at the knees. Loney's average up to .398 right now. And he strokes it into center. That's going to hang up though, and Rasmus makes the catch. Rays are up and down 1, 2, 3. We go to the fourth. 4-1 Tampa Bay. As your Tampa Bay Rays take on the Toronto Blue Jays, sponsored by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Rays will have Matt Moore looking for win number 6 tomorrow against Ricky Romero. And what a motley crew that is.
Well, let's break them down. You got Barry LeBrock, tons of features. Dwayne, you're way too happy there. I've got a pinhead. Orestes, larger than life as always. Actually, Todd Callis, larger even than Orestes.
Yeah, Todd pretty busy.
He sits taller than him in the chair, and his head's bigger.
Look at that.
Look at Todd. Head on a swivel.
Everybody's twisting in the breeze there, except for Orestes. He's just steady. Look at that. Oh, he's starting to fade a little bit. Check that out. Oh my.
Where's my pin?
Good question. Encarnacion fouls it out of play. 1-2. Roberto Hernandez.
Hold on, hold on.
There's your pin.
There it is.
All right, way to go.
Official. Stomp out bullying.
Two balls and 2 strikes the count. Full count to Encarnacion. Aaron Sebia next, and then Lynn. Cut the miss. He's out on strikes, this time on a fastball. Hernandez got him back in the first on a changeup. Strikeout number 3 for Roberto Hernandez.
Now keeping this ball down in the zone. You see Encarnacion head pulling off of that baseball. Everything pulled off of that baseball. Nice sink down.
J.P. Aaron Sebia.
How about this? First time, well, second time through the lineup now, but the first 4 hitters combined 1 for 8. 1 for 8 against Roberto Hernandez, and that has been a trouble spot for him. You look at his breakout, the first 4 hitters of a lineup hitting 375 off of him versus 5 through 9 hitting 136. So they have given him trouble, but so far tonight has done a very nice job at limiting anything, really. The double by Jose Bautista, but he followed that up with the strikeout of Encarnacion in the first.
And Aaron Sebia out on strikes. Oh, that was a great pitch to get Aaron Sebia.
Yeah, he's getting great action down. And these pitches, they're out over the plate, but you can do that when you get that kind of action.
Boy, that's beautiful, that pitch.
Absolutely filthy. You fool him 2 ways. You get him out over top of it and out in front. Like I said, against an aggressive lineup like this, that changeup is going to play very well.
Strike to Adam Lind. Lynn put the Blue Jays out in front with his first home run of the year in the second inning. Bouncing away from Molina. It's 1-1. The Orioles are batting in the bottom of the 5th, leading the Royals 3-1. Manny Machado's been red hot. Has a hit in that game. He's hit safely in 14 of his last 15 and hitting over 380 in that stretch. 1-2 the count to Lynn. It's fouled straight back. Rays and the Blue Jays in the second game of their 4-game series. Rays have had a nice run against the Blue Jays in recent seasons, particularly here. Rays were 14-4 last year in the season series against Toronto. Full count. It's Rasmus on deck. And a great stop at second. Roberts up with the throw to retire Lynn. Sharply hit ball, and Roberts a nice move to his right to handle that one. We go to the bottom half of inning 4 from Tropicana Field. The Rays have built a 4-1 lead. Ryan Roberts gets his man. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Jose Molina will lead it off for the Rays. Brad Lincoln, the right-hander, on in relief of the injured Jay Happ. Molina reached on a fielder's choice in the second inning and scored a run. The Rays scored all 4 of their runs in that inning. Two ball, no strike count. Happ worked 4 1/3 before he was struck in the head by a line drive off the bat of Desmond Jennings. Lincoln followed him. Happ removed from the field on a stretcher and has gone to Bayfront Medical Center. Molina draws the walk. We'll kick off those Sunday shoes and catch Kenny Loggins take the stage after the Rays game during 80s night. Coming up Saturday, May 11th, the Rays take on the Padres. Then Kenny Loggins performs hits including Footloose, Danger Zone, and I'm All Right. For tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com. They're ready for the concert.
Doesn't it look like Larry LeBrock has his hands like on the camera with his face inches away? Look at him. Look at him.
Serious and yet cheerful. Janelle Escobar, who ducks the pitch. 1 ball, no strikes. Fastball high from Lincoln. They'll get a visit from Aaron Sebia. Aaron Luke, the left-hander, is up now in the bullpen. Lincoln took over in the second. Right-hander out of the University of Houston. Escobar ahead in the count. 2-1. Escobar had a base hit and scored in the second inning. Line drive into left. Cabrera's there to grab it. So Escobar lines out. Molina at first. We'll go back around to the top of the order. Desmond Jennings. Ground ball, that's going to go through the hole, left side. Molina moves up to second. Desmond has his second hit.
Well, Desmond Jennings getting right after this first offering from Lincoln. Misses his spot, leaves that ball up and out over the plate. Desmond just hammers it in the hole.
Walker, the pitching coach, out there talking it over with his battery. Ryan Roberts due up. Zobrist behind him, and the lefty Luke is in the bullpen.
Well, they're going to have to piece this together from the Toronto side. The Rays offense, who really exploded yesterday for 7 runs in the third inning and then hibernated the rest of the game. Just 3 singles after that. Got to continue to put the pressure on. You jumped out to a lead again, and they look like they're determined to do that.
Breaking pitch is in for a strike to Roberts. Ryan 2 for 2. Double and a single and a run batted in. He went to 3-2 against Lincoln in the second and drove in a run with a base hit. TBA shifting out to stay in front of that breaking ball. 1-1 to count. Two and one. Rays with 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors, and the Blue Jays have run 3 hits and no errors. Pops it up. Stewart takes care of the formality of that catch. So 2 gone with runners still at first and second, and here comes John Gibbons, the manager, with Ben Zobrist due up. Gibbons on his way to make a pitching change, and we're going to see the left-hander. So Lincoln, second pitcher of the night, departs on this Metro PCS call to the bullpen. Brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Davey Martinez managing after Joe Madden was ejected back in the second inning. Aaron Loop, the new pitcher. Ben Zobrist now hits from the right side. And just a little piece of it fouling it, reflecting off Aaron Sebia. Ben had a chopper back of the mound for a base hit his first time.
You see the numbers on Loop. You know, we see this more and more. Teams, they want different styles of guys coming out of the bullpen. And Loop, left-hander with that side-winding arm action, gives you a different look, a very difficult look. You can imagine on lefties, not so easy on righties either.
1-1. Loop out of Louisiana. He went to Tulane University. He was up for part of the year with the Blue Jays last year. Was in 33 games. And a fly ball back toward the corner with some carry. Cabrera Runs down that one off the bat of Ben Zobrist. No runs, a couple left on base for the Rays. They got a hit and a walk in the inning. Rays lead 4-1. From auto stop foolproof stat. American League home run leaders since the middle of April. 11 Longoria and Encarnacion each with 7. Trumbo has hit 1, so he has 8. Aaron Seavey is last night his 6th since then, and Evan has led the Rays charge in home runs since tax day, April 15th.
Were you on time?
No. Kobe Rasmus bouncing.
Oh, there you go.
Out of play, strike 1.
And for the next couple of hours, they know where to find us.
It's all legal, an extension, the whole thing.
You got to ask for that?
No one told me. 0-2 the count now. Rasmus, then Asturias, followed by Kawasaki. One and 2. The Rays scored all 4 of their runs in the second inning after the Blue Jays had put a run up on Adam Lynn's first home run of the year in the top of the second inning. That's a strike at the knees, and Rasmus is caught looking. Strikeout number 6 for Roberto Hernandez. Let's check in with Todd again. Todd?
Dwayne, time for the AT&T Twitter poll. It's about the Rays to the first for the first 32 games of this season. What's been the biggest surprise so far this year? Do you think it's Matt Moore with his incredible April, hashtag TV1, James Loney hitting 500, over 500 his last 18 games, hashtag TV2, David Price with only 1 win so far, hashtag TV3, Fernando Rodney, more earned runs allowed this year than last year, hashtag TV4, or the Rays offense with 37 home runs, hashtag TV5. Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays, guys.
All right, Todd. Thank you for that. Strike to Asturias, and the count is quickly 0-2.
Some very interesting choices on that list.
Right, it covers the whole spectrum.
Yeah. You hate to say something positive as a surprise. Like, well, I never thought Matt Moore could go 5-0. Jeez.
Or Loney could hit 500.
Well, that's kind of absurd. But yeah.
Well, they've been good. I mean, you're not going to hit 500 all year.
No. But still.
Loney's been great. Matt Moore's been very good. He's been great. And strike 3 called to Asturias. Back-to-back strikeouts. That's 4 of the last 5 hitters Hernandez has struck out.
And the only mistake that he made was a comeback sinker to Adam Lynn. That's the one that he wants right there. Right on the inside corner. Just freezes hitters. Give up on it. Late tailing action. You can see right there is Turris. No argument whatsoever.
Kawasaki shorts on the bat. Takes the pitch down for a ball. Kawasaki, playing shortstop in the absence of Jose Reyes. Kawasaki's been a man in motion in this series. Tries to bunt, fouls it. John Gibbons, manager. Marlo Hale, his bench coach. We go to 3-1 to Kawasaki. Hernandez has retired 9 in a row. He's behind Kawasaki and picks up a strike at the knees.
Well, that's one thing that Roberto Hernandez has done well all night is the ball down in the zone. He has been down there at the knees all night long. That's where he is going to be the most effective that you'll see him.
And a little bounce off the glove of Hernandez, and it deflects into short right. Hernandez stuck out his glove and deflected it through the hole on the right side. That's a base hit for Kawasaki.
Well, as you had Ryan Roberts flowing up the middle to try to get to it. A little misdirection or redirection here by Roberto Hernandez.
And of course it would be a misdirection base hit by Kawasaki. His whole game is misdirection. He's doing deep knee bends in the batter's box. And he's in there sliding in at first. He had taken to doing pregame drills, running the bases and sliding. He'd actually go third to second slide, second to first, and do a pop-up slide at first. Laurie lifting a fly ball short center, handled by Jennings. So a 2-out single and a man left. Hernandez doing a very good job for the Rays tonight. 4-1 Rays. For the Rays, they have a 4-1 lead. Scott and Rodriguez to follow. The left-hander Aaron Luke delivers, and it's a foul ball. Strike one. Jay Happ pitched an inning and a third left after being hit in the head by a line drive. He was conscious and acknowledged the crowd as he left the game on a stretcher. It's a little close to Evan. 1-1. Lincoln pitched 2 1/3. Now Aaron Luke got the final out in the fourth. Two balls and a strike.
What we've seen here from Loop is even with that odd arm angle, he is able to create a great amount of velocity, getting 90 miles an hour from out there.
High pop fly headed towards center. Rasmus is there. One away. Come out for Star Trek night. Stardate Friday, May 10th. Celebrate the release of Star Trek Into Darkness. Watch the Rays Enterprise take on the Padres in a special seating section and receive a Star Trek t-shirt for $25. Visit RaysBaseball.com/Star Trek for tickets. Not doing so would be highly illogical. Luke Scott. This pitch is a strike. Matt Harvey had a no-hit bid going against the White Sox for the Mets tonight. Alex Rios got a base hit in the 7th to break up a potential no-hitter. Harvey with 10 strikeouts, and that game scoreless at the top of the 8th in New York. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Grounded to second in the first, called out on strikes in the third. Count holding there at 1-2.
She's watching us on her favorite mobile device.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
We're playing Angry Birds.
Luke is out on strikes.
Well, Luke is so tough on left-handed hitters. Got the good velocity. The breaking ball sweeps and is tight with the break. And then here he changes eye levels from down low to up high. And Luke just can't hold up.
Base is empty with 2 gone, and the hitter becomes Sean Rodriguez. Takes a fastball high. Seen some left-handed pitching in this series, and more of that tomorrow. Matt Moore and Ricky Romero tomorrow night. Don't forget Thursday, it's David Price against R.A. Dickey. 2 reigning Cy Young Award winners. I got it on Thursday. Ball, 2 strikes. There's a line drive into center field for a base hit. Sean Rodriguez has his second hit. 2-out single in the 5th.
Now, the one thing that the right-handed hitters get is a pretty good look at the release point of Luke. I mean, it's way out there, but they get to see that ball. And if he's not precise with his location, put a nice swing on it. That's what Sean did with 2 strikes. Goes right back up the middle for a 2-out hit.
James Loney singled and scored in the second. He's now 9 of 16 against left-handed pitching. Lifts it into left. Cabrera makes the catch. Rays get ahead, leave a man. We're through 5, and it's 4-1 Tampa Bay. And they're getting that from Roberto Hernandez through 5. He has struck out 7, allowing just a run on 4 hits. A little controversy early. Rays thought they had a run there, but Sean Rodriguez was called out, and then Joe Madden was kicked out. Rays went on to score 4 in the second inning to take a 4-1 lead. Ryan Roberts drove in a run. Rays had 4 runs on 6 hits. Jay Happ had to leave that game after being hit in the head by a line drive off the bat of Desmond Jennings. Was conscious when he left and acknowledged the crowd. Melky Cabrera to begin the 6th inning, and Hernandez gets him to foul that first pitch away. Cabrera 0 for 2. Base hit. The fastball into right.
Well, nice job of hitting there by Melky Cabrera. That was not a bad pitch at all. Ball down in the zone. Cabrera just goes down and sweeps it into right field. Maybe a little bit too much plate for Cabrera's swing right there, but the ball was down. Punch it through.
Dave Martinez, the Rays bench coach, managing in the aftermath of the ejection by Marty Foster of Joe Madden, the Rays skipper. Cut and a miss. Bautista missed a slider, strike 1. Jake McGee up in the Rays bullpen. 85 pitches for Hernandez through the first 5. Working his way through the lineup for the 3rd time.
That has been troublesome for Roberto Hernandez, and I don't think Joe Madden having Jake McGee up, not going to take any chances on letting this inning start to build momentum, especially when you're right back up the top of the order.
Ahead of Bautista, slider, and then the changeup.
I'll tell you what. If the game plan was to keep the ball down, Roberto Hernandez has been fantastic.
It's a ball and 2 strikes. Hernandez was in that game Thursday in Kansas City. That eventually was postponed because of snow. Pitched 3 innings in that game. Two and 2. It's that 3rd time through the lineup number for Roberto Hernandez. 306 versus 125 and 268. Cabrera at first. Shift on with Bautista at the plate. Hernandez got ahead 0-2. It's now 2-2. It's a 3-run game. You get down to the middle part of their order, and you're very conscious of that with the power they can parade to the plate. Hard hit foul, out of play.
That was a laser shot. Yeah, you're talking about a Jose Bautista who, with the help of coaches in this organization all the way through, philosophies, turned himself into a big-time power hitter. Edwin Encarnacion last year over the 40 mark.
Ground ball 3rd. Longoria to Roberts. Over to first. Around the horn they go for a 5-4-3 double play. That erases the leadoff base hit, clears the bases.
Well, that's what you love about a guy that can get the ground ball. You're always just one pitch away from this right here. Exactly what the Rays needed. Getting the leadoff man aboard and then erasing him just that quickly.
Encarnacion.
I'll tell you what, from the very beginning of this game, Roberto Hernandez looked like he wanted the challenge of this game. He wanted to be the guy to go out there and lead the charge. His body language, how aggressive he was going at these hitters, and I don't mean fastball all the time, but just aggressively going right at them. Fastball, changeup, not messing around at all.
Encarnacion moved out of the box there.
This is you're viewing a pitcher in attack mode, not trying to nibble, not trying to be too fine, going right after hitters and spreading those outs all over the place.
2-1. Seven strikeouts in this game for Hernandez, which matches his season's high. Behind now as Encarnacion laid off that pitch, breaking away.
Well, you look at Roberto Hernandez coming into this ball game. I mean, his strikeouts per 9 innings at a career high by a wide margin. His career average was 5.5. He comes in just under 9. Swing and miss percentages up.
Encarnacion missed that one, full count.
It's typically not his game, but man, right now he's got the sinker and the changeup just disappearing on these hitters. He's keeping it down, it's tracking down, and they just cannot lay off.
By very much on that fastball down, a little off the plate. That's the first walk given up by Roberto Hernandez tonight.
Too much run. He started this ball down the middle. Look where that ends up.
Jim Hickey's headed to the mound with J. Pierre Sebia due up. They have a rain delay in Baltimore at the top of the 7th. It's 3-1 Orioles over Kansas City. Top of the 7th at Fenway, and the Minnesota Twins lead the Red Sox 2-0. Jake McGee continues to stay loose in the bullpen. Boston started the day up by 2 on New York and 2 up on Baltimore. The Rays 6.5 back, and the Blue Jays 9.5 out. Aaron Sebia twice has gone out on strikes, changeups in the 2nd and the 4th inning, accounting for 2 of Hernandez's strikeouts. Over to first. Back in goes Encarnacion. Hernandez, coming into this game, had made 6 career starts against the Blue Jays. 3-1 with a .454 earned run average against them. Inside. Ball and a strike. Hernandez just over 100 pitches on the evening now. Gives Hernandez the edge. Indians leading Oakland 1-0 in the bottom of the 8th. Game in Cleveland. White Sox still have only 1 hit. They're batting in the 9th inning against the Mets in New York. The game's still scoreless. Ground ball, shortstop. Escobar with a toss to Roberts in second. Bottom of inning 6 coming, and the Rays lead 4-1. Sixth inning coming up. This season, fans at Tropicana Field are cheering loud, waving K cards, and watching David Price rack up strikeouts. Don't miss your chance to be a part of District K9 this Thursday when David goes to the Hill against the Blue Jays. Check out racebaseball.com/District K9 for more info. He'll be opposed by last year's National League Cy Young Award winner, now pitching for the Blue Jays, R.A. Dickey. Price against Dickey here on Thursday. Jose Molina leads off in the first pitch from the left-hander loop. 1 ball, no strikes. Steve Delomar is loosening in the bullpen down the left field line now for the Blue Jays. Strike at the knees. It's 1-1. Rays scored 4 in the first, or in the second, after first falling behind 1-0. Chopped to short. Kawasaki makes the throw. Molina's out of there. Adam Lynn hit a home run in the second inning, and the Rays came back with 4 in the bottom. Janelle Escobar.
Well, tonight it was the Rays' turn to answer. They did, and so far have made it hold up. Although, again, you'd like to see him tack on a little bit. Toronto's had to piece this game together with the bullpen as Jake McGee continues to heat up down there for the Rays.
Roberto Hernandez has made 103 pitches through 6. McGee was up in that inning, so he's getting ready here as the Rays bat at the bottom of the 6th.
You wouldn't mind seeing him go back out there too, especially having that last outing cut short in Kansas City. He's throwing the ball great. He really is. He made one mistake up in the zone. Adam Lynn hit it out of the ballpark, but other than that, he has been knees or below, late action, good change of speed, aggressive in the zone, in attack mode. Everything that you wanted tonight out of your starting pitcher, he has given you.
Escobar dropping the bat, and that's going to be a strike on the appeal. Scott Berry says he went after it.
He's going to get rid of this bat like a hot potato. Let's see if he went beforehand. Sometimes even doing that gives the impression to the umpire that you did something wrong and you're trying to get that bat out of there.
Trying to get rid of the evidence.
Yeah, right.
In the foul territory, Batista handles that. 2 up, 2 down. We'll go to the top side of the batting order for the Rays now. Desmond Jennings. Jennings, a couple of runs batted in. He got credit for a triple on that line drive. Lined it right back off the starting pitcher, Jay Happ. The side of his head, and the ball deflected into right. 2 runs scored, and Jennings wound up at third. Ground ball. Corey, the third baseman. A 1-hop throw to first. Encarnacion digs it out over there. And the Rays are up and down in order. We're headed into the 7th with the Rays leading. It's 4-1. That's going to be it for Roberto Hernandez in VA. He was very, very good tonight.
He was excellent. He really went out there in attack mode. I think he took this game as a personal challenge, trying to do something for his teammates and lead the charge. And boy, did he do that. He kept the ball down all night long. Did a great job of attacking the strike zone, attacking the hitters, changing the speeds, and had a wonderful evening. 6 innings, just a 1 earned run. He had the 1 walk, struck out 7. Paved the way here to the Rays bullpen.
Well, after 5 starts, the Rays tonight saw the Roberto Hernandez they hoped that they would see when he came to camp and won a spot in the rotation.
That guy that you saw out there tonight will win you a lot of games.
Yep.
Because that stuff translates to any lineup. The best bet you could have done off him tonight is just take those pitches and hope they're too far down in the zone. Be disciplined and not swing, because if you're going to swing, you make feeble outs.
The only run he gave up was on a home run to this man, Adam Lind, who now faces Jake McGee. Jake's first pitch was a strike. And a base hit up the left side, down toward the corner. And that's going to be a double. So Lind is aboard to open the 7th.
Here you go. They want the fastball in. That ball cuts away, and Lind goes right with it. Lind, he doesn't know where the catcher's at. He's just swinging where the ball's pitched, and he does a nice job of taking the ball away and shooting it up the left field line.
That's really been McGee's issue. You know, his velocity's been good, but he's not hitting his spots.
No, he's not hitting his spots. And we saw last night the good velocity. You know, he was back up in the 97 range. But that was a pitch right there. There's a reason you're going in. You feel like there's a hole there. There's a weakness there. You're going in. You don't want to go away right there. Well, the ball ends up away. What happens? Double.
Now he faces Colby Rasmus. It's a strike. That goes back to the conversation we had in the early part of this game about fastball being the best pitch, but it's a well-located fastball. That's right. As you referenced.
Yeah, it's just not haphazardly throwing it out over the dish. Those get crushed. Well-located fastball that sets up everything else after that.
Shot it deep into right center field. That ball's going to go out of here. Rasmus has hit a 2-run home run, a double and a home run, and just like that, it's a 4-3 game.
2 pitches that Rasmus saw were not fastballs. That's that. Slider almost has a cutter spin. It's very small, whatever it is. There is a change of speed. This ball's going to just try to cut to the outside corner, and it never gets there. Stays middle. Doesn't have a lot of movement on it. It is about 8 miles an hour off the fastball.
Now as Storis fouls it back, and again you're talking location there, whether it's going to be a cut fastball or a fastball. Missing location. Gomes up in the bullpen.
That's the separator at this level of baseball. You get away with a few pitches out over the plate here and there, but more times than not, you've got to be able to locate. If you don't locate, it'll be exposed.
So 2 runs home and nobody out. 4-3 now. Two. Ground ball short. Escobar makes this play. Storis is out of there. Well, here's the thing you really hope. McGee has struggled. His velocity has been good, as we saw even on the ball that Lind hit. But location is a key, and what you're really hoping now is that this stretch he's gone through does not take its toll from the psychological side of things.
And it, you know, these are the situations where it very well could. That's why, you know, it's important for Jake to stay positive. Coaches obviously giving him encouragement. His teammates, you know, are going to give him encouragement. You just got to continue to plow through. The problem is, you know, not the problem, but if you're Jake McGee, when you look at it, you say, look, it's my location. I tidy up my location. I'm going to be just fine. If I get the ball where I want it, I'm going to have success.
Well, DeRosa, who's pinch hitting now, got him last night. The home run right down the line, and that came on an 0-2 pitch.
Well, all DeRosa did was let Jake McGee supply all the power and put a swing on a pitch. That's it. He was getting powdered with really good fastballs, and you know, even that one, the third of the bunch, and he's still way late. The ball's away, but when you're throwing 97, the ball's going to jump and it ends up going right down the line. That really gave the Blue Jays a lot of confidence. But that's where you identify the problem. You know, it's not my stuff. The velocity's there. Where's my location then? Where are these balls that I'm getting hurt on? Where are they in the strike zone?
Fly ball into right. Zobrist comes in to make the catch. 2 outs after the 2-run home run by Rasmus. Now to the top of the order, Brett Lawrie. McGee struck him out last night. The fastball, a cut and a miss.
That's one thing that Jake can do with that pitch, is he can pitch out over the plate with the fastball elevated. That ball has a tendency to jump on you especially when he's got his good velocity, 96, 97. You see it big, tough to get on top of.
And that's a strike, 0-2. Lawrie has gone through a tough stretch now for the Blue Jays. 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for his last 16. And McGee ahead of him, 2 strikes. And a foul ball back. Fastball. Double. Rasmus homered. 2 gone since. 96, the fastball away off the plate. Strikes to retire the side. The home run by Rasmus makes it a 1-run game. Bottom of the 7th coming, 4-3 Rays. Bottom of the 7th inning. Tune in tomorrow for the Wednesday night showdown as the Rays take on the Blue Jays. Sponsored by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. And of course, tomorrow being Wednesday, it's another Web Wednesday.
Best day of the week. Best day of the week.
Can't wait. Always fun. DeRosa stays on, plays second. Asturias moves from second to short. And the new pitcher is the right-hander Steve Delabar. Ryan Roberts shortens on the bat, taking the pitch upstairs.
Eerily similar to last night's game. Offense explodes early, then nothing. Nice to see them get at least one, maybe both of the runs back. Try to put something together here against the new Blue Jay pitcher.
Well, you saw the numbers on Delabar. They've been pretty good.
Yep.
He can't walk you. There's a line. Oh, but it's off the glove of his Asturias. He recovers, and the throw to first is in time. Roberts, I think, anticipated that line drive was going to be caught.
Yep, he did. I don't know if he ran all the way through. That ball off the bat looked like it was a for sure catch. I mean, it was right there. It wasn't terrible, but it was enough to cost him. That ball had some action on it. Hit hard.
It's Ben Zobrist.
And the tough thing about that, it's almost human nature.
It is.
When you hit that line drive, there is that. It's tough to just power through running to first base when the guy's going to catch it.
Well, his natural and first move was to hightail it.
That's right.
And then either it's going to be caught.
Yeah.
Now what?
And it's tough to say you can't assume.
Yeah.
And some plays are more egregious than others, but you're just like, we've all done it.
Out to second, a slow chopper, and Zobrist is out. DeRosa handles this. So it's really difficult to fault Roberts on that because
really.
you're almost wired to do it that way. You know, I mean, he's a guy who hustles. And
right.
That's the way he plays the game.
I'm sitting up here running through the scenario in my head, and I'm like, I probably would have done the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's just nature. I mean, you're going,
it wasn't like he stopped, put the bat, then tried to pick it back up. He had a slow step and a half.
Yeah, he had a quick start out of the batter's box, to his credit. It's Evan Longoria. 1-0. Delabar has given up just one earned run in his last 8 games, covering a little over 9 innings. Now with 2 outs here in the 7th, he's extended that to 10 innings. 2 balls and a strike. Kyle Farnsworth is he in the bullpen. And Evan hits one deep into center. Carey, Rasmus back into the corner. Bouncing away from him, and into second base goes Longoria. Well, he hit it into the deepest part of this ballpark, into that corner in center field, and Rasmus comes up a little short.
That's right. Heard footsteps. Heard footsteps. He went a long way, and I think he sensed the wall and kind of pulled up a little bit. Good drive here by Evan, but to the deepest part of the park.
Well, it gets deeper out there, and it's as if he started to wonder exactly where he was in relation to the wall, because it wasn't as close as he thought it might be.
Well, he's saying, look, I've been running for a while here. There's going to be something tall and solid showing up any minute, any second.
Now Luke Scott. There's a strike.
There it is. Get out of your horse.
Scott, 1-1. This would be a big run to pick up here with 2 outs and Longoria in second.
Look at this ball just take off. Wow. Almost got the back quad.
Fly ball to center. Plenty of room for Rasmus as he backs up to make the catch. Rays leave a man at second. We go to the 8th. 4-3 Tampa Bay. Welcome back to Tropicana Field, where the Rays have a 4-3 lead. Roberto Hernandez worked the front 6. McGee an inning, and now Kyle Farnsworth with Brian Anderson and Todd Callis, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you looking in tonight here in the second game of this extended homestand. 11th appearance for Farnsworth coming up.
7 innings of work. Just 2 strikeouts. You think of Kyle Farnsworth, the power pitcher. Getting a lot of people out on that cutter. Trying to do the same thing here. Not a whole lot of margin for error.
Melky Cabrera leads it off. Cabrera, Bautista, and Encarnacion. So some big bats indeed coming up for Toronto. Up the right side, down toward the corner, and that's going to one-hop the fence. Zobrist will play the carom, and it's a leadoff double for Cabrera. And just like that, a major threat to open the 8th inning.
Well, he got a pitch moving towards him, and it didn't get quite to the spot that Kyle wanted. He just sweeps that ball down into the corner.
Cabrera, his first hit off Farnsworth in his career, giving him 1 for 4. Cesar Ramos busy in the bullpen, and now here's Jose Bautista. Be careful here. And off the mitt of Molina, Cabrera goes to third.
Now that hurts.
pass ball puts the potential tying run at third with nobody out.
That hurts. First of all, Jose Bautista squaring, and then this ball outside of the right leg by Jose Molina, or of Jose Molina, and the ball just clanks off the glove, and that gets the runner from second. Oh boy, now you got to bring the infield in with Jose Bautista at the plate. Not a desirable situation.
Bautista has a double in 3 at-bats. He's 2 for 4 against Farnsworth in his career. And there's a strike. So Kyle in a spot now with the leadoff double and the pass ball. Bautista had a single last night off Farnsworth. And a shot toward the left field corner. That's fair. The game is tied. Bautista heads into second with a double, and it's a 4-4 ball game. Bautista's 15th run batted in.
Now trying to come in here, and he's been bailing and wailing all night long. And that ball was on the inner third. Boy, he got the head out in a hurry. Slammed that ball down in the corner. Tied the game, and Ray's still in trouble here.
It's Encarnacion, strike one. For 2 with a walk tonight for Encarnacion.
Stay in there. Come on, guys.
1-1. Minnesota leading Boston 6-0 in the top of the 8th. Joe Mauer is in a 2-run double in that inning. Here the Blue Jays have tied the Rays 4-4 in the 8th. One and 2. Foul ball out of play. Roberto Hernandez, the front 6. Gave up a run on 5 hits. McGee followed, gave up 2 runs in an inning, and now Farnsworth surrendering the tying run. A line drive going to be over the glove of Roberts into short right. Bautista advances to third. Zobrist got there in a hurry, and now it's first and third with nobody out.
Now that ball not hit that hard, but Ryan Roberts, look at him moving back towards his position. That gives him a chance. Softly hit. Oh man, that short. Just everything that he could. That thing hit leather.
Roberts had pretty good hang time up there too, trying to stay airborne to grab that line drive, and just off the top of his glove. Well, it's J. Pierre Sebia. He's 0 for 3 tonight, and now up here in the 8th with men on the corners and nobody out. Strike one. The Blue Jays were down to their final strike last night when he unloaded this on a 2-2 pitch. Giving the Blue Jays an 8-7 win. They scored 2 in the top of the 9th, and the Rays went down in order in the bottom of the 9th. Encarnacion at first, Bautista at third. Seavey hitting better against right-handed pitching than left-handed pitching. There's one at bat against Farnsworth, and that was a strikeout. 1-1 right there. Pitch inside. Farnsworth faced Bautista, Encarnacion, and Lind last night. One and two. Tapper. It's a foul ball rolling toward the dugout. Tonight, Toronto scored a run in the second. The Rays put up 4 in the second. And that was all the scoring until the Blue Jays put up 2 in the 7th, and they've scored 1 in the 8th. TBA is out on strikes. So Farnsworth picks up the first out here in the 8th by striking out the Toronto catcher.
Well, boy, did you need that. Nice place for that pitch. Even Jose Molina giving him a fist pump.
So Davey Martinez out of the dugout to make a pitching change. Metro PCS called to the bullpen.
On the corners and 1 out. A little different look for the Rays bullpen tonight in the 8th inning. Normally it's Joel Peralta's inning, but tonight Fernando Rodney after the 37 pitches. Joe Madden did not want to use him or Jamie Wright after pitching 5 of the last 7 days. So no Peralta in the 8th. They were saving him for the 9th. That's why you saw Farnsworth and now Cesar Ramos and Brandon Gomes also warming up. One other thing, guys, getting a lot of questions about J-Happ. If we get any information before the game ends, we will certainly update you on his condition at Bayfront Medical Center. If not, we'll have it for you in our Rays Live postgame show. Hopefully back to you.
All right, Todd, thank you. And there's the lefty. Cesar Ramos, the 4th pitcher for the Rays. He's on to face Adam Lind with men at 1st and 3rd. Lind has had 2 extra base hits tonight, a home run and a double. The first pitch, fastball in a bit, up and in. Ramos has faced Lynn on 3 separate occasions. Lynn 0 for 3 against him. Up and in. 2-0. Rasmus on deck. Ramos worked 1 inning Saturday in Colorado. 1 scoreless inning, surrendered a hit. And now ball 3. Cabrera's double opened the inning. He was doubled home by Bautista. That's a strike. 3-1.
Quick quiz. Where are they trying to pitch him? What are they trying to do?
Not there.
In. Ramos, we talked about his ability to throw in on left-handed hitters. One of the few lefties that can do it consistently. Try to limit the swing, try to jam him.
And he fouls it back at third, and that's going to be out of play. So the count is full. Ground ball. Escobar steps on the bag and fires to first. They get the double play. And Lynn hits into 2 to end it. But the Blue Jays score a run. We go to the bottom of the 8th, tied 4-4.
Twitter poll, what's the biggest surprise thus far in the Rays season? Matt Moore, great start. James Loney, 500, over 500 last 18. David Price, only 1 win so far. Fernando Rodney struggling a bit. The offense with a lot of home runs. Tweet your votes. Hashtag TV1 through 5 to @SunSportsRays.
Matt Joyce will pinch hit to open the bottom of the 8th against Steve Delabar. And the first pitch is a fastball off the plate end. Ball 1. Joyce 0 for 2 against the Toronto right-hander. That's way high. 2 balls, no strikes. Left-hander Cecil up in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. 3-0. 4 runs, 10 hits for the Rays. 4 runs and 10 hits for the Blue Jays. Joyce to the strike. 3-1. Yet to throw a strike. And there's ball 4. So a runner at first on the leadoff pinch hit walk. Coming up on Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers. Todd and Orestes anchoring the coverage. We'll break down Roberto Hernandez, who was very good tonight. Press conference from Joe Madden. And Kelly Nash has interviews from the clubhouse. That's Rays Live, the postgame presented by Checkers.
Here's the opportunity for the Rays. Leadoff walk. Leadoff walk is always a bad omen. Got to make him pay here. You just got to get it done. End it here.
James Loney bounce one back. That's out of play. Well, the Rays scored 4 in the second. Since then, they've only had a man in scoring position twice. Molina opened the 4th with a walk and went to second on a 1-out base hit by Jennings, and a 2-out double by Longoria in the 7th. Now a leadoff walk here in the 8th. Joyce back in at first. Ground ball down to first. Encarnacion goes to second out there and back to first. Blue Jays turn a 3-6-3 double play. That erases the leadoff walk.
Encarnacion, instead of touching the bag, goes and makes the throw.
Knows that James Loney is not a speedster, so get rid of it. Get back to the bag. That was well done by the Blue Jays.
Now Molina, he took a big cut. That fastball up. He liked the location. It was at 95, but a pretty good location for Molina. Here it is again.
He was looking to drive himself in.
No doubt about it.
Lifts it to the right side. Batista in shallow right field catches it. The Rays are out of the 8th. We go to the 9th, tied 4-4. Treat your wife or mom like the special person she is this Mother's Day by spending the day together at the ballpark. Sunday, May 12th, the Rays take on the Padres, and the first 10,000 women get a Rays flower pot presented by Mosaic. For tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com. Well, Peralta comes on for the 16th time here in the 9th inning. This tie game. Matt Joyce stays on to play left field after pinch hitting. Joyce, Jennings, and Zobrist in the outfield. Still Longoria, Escobar left side of the infield. Roberts, Loney the right side, with Molina catching Peralta. Rasmus homered in the 7th inning. A 2-run shot that made it 4-3. Well, the Blue Jays tied it in the 8th. Strike. That home run off Jake McGee. Lines it up the right side, hooking out of play. Foul ball. Out on the playing field. The count is 0-2. Rasmus with a couple runs batted in. Lind one on a solo home run. Bautista drove in the tying run. Two strikes the count. Rasmus now has struck out 7 times in 7 at-bats against Peralta. 10th strikeout for Rays pitching.
Good split here by Joel. Bottom just falls out. Rasmus is over the top of it. Well, that's, I mean, big league level. 0 for 7, 7 strikeouts. Wow.
Here's Turris, who's now playing shortstop, is in the batter's box. And a drive hit back into deep right. Zobrist to the wall, and that one is gone. Turris hits a home run to make it 5-4. Myceres Turris hits his 3rd home run of the year, and the Blue Jays take a 5-4 lead here in the 9th. Turris goes deep off Peralta, who has been so good out of the bullpen.
I mean, who would have thought Myceres Turris,
A fastball up, and he launches it to right field. No way.
Now Bonifacio will pinch hit. Oh, what a blow here. The shortstop is Turris. Belts one out. Bonifacio with a 1-1 count. The Blue Jays with 2 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, and 1 here in the 9th. Ball, 2 strikes. That hit by Asturias, the first off Peralta. He was 0 for 3 against him. And got that one just over the yellow line for the home run. Ocasio fouls this one, and it gets Molina off the mask. Well, he's got to get at least one of those a night, it seems. Waited until the 9th here. Ocasio rolls it foul. Tomorrow's pitching matchup brought to you by Chevron. Ricky Romero, the lefty, and Matt Moore goes for number 6 for the Rays. Carries his 5-0 record to the hill. Bonifacios out on strikes. 2 gone. Brett Laurie now against Peralta. Peralta, an inning last night, pitched an inning on Sunday, and in here in the 9th inning tonight, and a strike, split to Laurie. Jansen finished the game last night. Casey Jansen staying loose down there in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. Ground ball. There's a base hit up the middle off an 0-2 pitch, and Laurie is aboard.
That was a Peralta special where he speeds up that delivery, cuts it in half, gets that ball going to the hitter usually before he's ready for it. Laurie was able to shoot the center of the field.
And for Laurie, that snaps it 0 for 17.
Trying to catch him, not ready, and Peralta, boy, ticked it himself. Wants that ball down. I'll tell you what, you're talking about a guy who will take the ball every day if Joe asks him to.
Absolutely. Melky Cabrera.
And with a smile. I mean, you talk about one of the gamers on this ball club. This is him.
Well, now he faces Cabrera with a runner at first and 2 outs. Up the right side. That's going to be a fair ball back toward the corner. Laurie's going to hit third. They're going to wave him around, and he will score. The throw not in time. Laurie scores from first on the double into the corner by Cabrera. And the Blue Jays take a 2-run lead, 6-4.
Well, Laurie's got the added benefit here, going on contact with 2 outs, and he was hustled all the way. Ben Zobrist did not get what he wanted on that throw, kind of caught his foot as he went to throw that ball, and it There was absolutely no steam on it coming into the infield. That's an unfortunate break, too.
Here's Bautista. Another big tough out to get. It's a ball inside. The Rays now trailed by 2 here in the top of the 9th inning. At one point they led 4-1.
José Marica! José Marica!
Blue Jays trying to win 3 games in a row for the first time this year. 2-0 the count.
José se la come. Por detrás.
And now Peralta is behind in the count, 3-0. Rays have Escobar, Jennings, and Roberts due up in the bottom of the 9th. Any deeper would be Ben Zobrist. All 4. Bautista walks. So after the strikeout of the pinch hitter Bonifacio, Laurie singled, scored on Cabrera's double. Bautista has walked, and Dave Martinez comes out of the Rays dugout. Gomes down there in the bullpen, and Peralta going out here pitching for the 3rd day in a row. Not happy with what has taken place here in the 9th. And Peralta says, wait a minute. Gomes had headed toward the mound, and Peralta doesn't want to leave. Gomes actually had walked out of the bullpen and was approaching the right field line. Peralta, you talk about Peralta being a gamer. He says, no, I'm not leaving. And Davey says, no, you got to leave. And so finally Gomes will enter this game. And Peralta finally departs. It's a 6-4 game, Toronto. He didn't want to come out of the game.
No.
I mean, you talked about him being a competitor, and that's what that's from. Not the best form, doesn't necessarily look all that great, but he didn't want to come out because he is a competitor. He's committed.
Oh, and he's ticked off that, you know, of what happened, and said, listen, let me finish this inning. My inning.
So Gomes in to face Encarnacion. 1-0 the count. Jays have scored 2 here in the 6th.
I'll tell you what, this kid here, Brandon Gomes, got a chance to be a good man. He's another pitcher, a lot of guts, good stuff, deceptive arm angle.
Picks up a strike on Encarnacion. Encarnacion chirping a little bit, catching Marty Foster's attention. One way or another, the count's 1-2. It's foul out of play.
I don't know if that swing was meant for the baseball or Marty Foster.
Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live. Pre-game show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Matt Moore looks to remain unbeaten. Web Wednesday, and of course BA's breakdown. The bat and his helmet, and he's been ejected by Marty Foster. Home run by Astures. Cabrera's double drove in another run, and we go to the bottom of the 9th. 6-4 Toronto.
May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Marty Foster, his second ejection of the night as he runs Edwin Encarnacion through the bat. That's fine. He threw the helmet. Now he's ejected. John Gibbons out there in between. Escobar's going to lead it off for the Rays in the bottom of the ninth against Casey Jansen. And the first pitch lifted into right. And Bautista's there making the catch for the first out. Rays have Escobar followed by Jennings and Roberts here. And Casey Jansen 8 of 8 in the save department, making his 12th appearance.
Now this guy has been outstanding for the Blue Jays since he took over the closer role almost a year to the day. It was May 9th of last year.
Yep.
And he's 30 out of 32 since.
Jennings takes a strike. See the right side of the infield now with Lynn moving out of the DH spot to play first. Bonifacio is at second.
High energy, works quick,
and throws strikes.
Yes, that's it. Quality strikes. All right, now hang.
Ball, 2 strikes. Rays need a base runner. They're down 6-4. Another lead getting away from the Rays here in this game. It's down 2-2. Kelly Johnson is on deck. Roberts do, but Johnson moved out on deck.
Give him a chance. Desmond, find your way on base any way you can. Give Kelly a shot to tie this game up.
And that's a strike ball that started toward Jennings off the plate in and cut in to catch the edge.
Well, front door cutter. Marty Foster's opened it up here.
Well, didn't quite catch the edge. Did break a little bit, but it's out number 2, and now Kelly Johnson.
You can understand Desmond. There's nothing you can do. Nothing you can do.
Yep.
You're not going to swing at that pitch. 2 strikes. It's a surprise pitch anyway. Front door cutter. Catches you flat-footed, but then it misses by 3 inches, and you get rung up anyway.
One and 1 to count. Strike ball. Cutter and Johnson a little upset with that. Take a look at this. Off the plate again.
It's the same pitch to Desmond.
Anything close apparently is a strike. And a little tapper back to Jansen. And the underhanded toss. This game is over. So the Rays are up and down 1, 2, 3 in the ninth. It's a 6-4 final. The Blue Jays have taken the second game of this series. We'll be back with the totals in a moment.